Tempest Journey, written by Blue Moon Hero, read by Swish Diablo. After traveling around informing that Storm King was defeated, Tempest had completed her task and she was returned to Ponyville because she had been offered to stay in Twilight's castle. She used to return secretly to surprise Twilight. On her way, she sat on a train with Gruber and wondered what she would do now and that he had completed the task. The train arrived in Ponyville. She walked around the city while Gruber went to Sugar Corner, but she noticed that no pony was staring at her as she wore a robe to cover her face. She arrived at the castle, knocked and waiting for an answer. She knocked again on the gate. "I'll open it," said Spike. "Who is it?" "I'm here to meet Twilight Sparkle," said Tempest. "Who are you?" Tempest lifted her coat and slightly showed her face, and before Spike could say her name, she stopped saying it. "I want to surprise Twilight." "Of course, she will in the library. Thank you," said Tempest. Spike led the way to the library for Tempest because she had never been in the castle before. "Who was at the gate?" Twilight asked. "It was a friend." "Who was it?" "That's me," said Tempest. Twilight dropped the book she was reading and turned around and saw Tempest standing by Twilight. She had not seen Tempest for a whole year and heard nothing from her. "Tempest, but what are you doing here?" "I'll come home after I complete my task of informing you about your defeated Storm King," said Tempest. "Where's Gruber?" "He is at the Sugar Corner to say hello to Pinky." "You have to tell me everything you've seen or been involved with," said Twilight. Spike then rolled his eyes and understood now that Twilight would probably be up all night listening and making notes of Tempest's travels. He thought, poor Tempest. He left the library and went to the kitchen to fix some tea and something to eat for Tempest and Twilight. After that, he went to the library and gave them the tray and went to his room to read comic books. For the rest of the day, Tempest and Twilight sit talking about their travels while making notes. They both sit down and talked until midnight, until when Twilight began to feel pretty tired. "Well, I think I'm getting tired, Tempest," said Twilight. "It was just fun to listen to you," said Tempest. Twilight brought all her notes, and she had one last dozen, and at least a dozen pages with all the things Tempest had told her. Tempest remained in the library a little longer while she drank her tea, but before she goes to bed, she stands by the balcony, looks toward the city. She sighs for herself. "Well, will I ever be able to do magic like I did when I was younger?" she said to herself. Tempest had recently wished that her horn was healed again, after the Storm King made her false promise that he would restore it again. She thought that there was nothing that could restore her horn. After that, she went back to bed, and that night, Tempest had a dream about her childhood, how happy she was able to perform magic, and the next moment, when she was employed by Storm King and could no longer perform magic anymore. The next morning, Twilight steps in the library, sees Tempest is already awake and sat reading some books about magic. "Good morning, Tempest. You work early?" "Yes, I couldn't sleep any longer." "What are you reading?" Tempest kept a book that Twilight noticed. "It's about magic healing. It's about your horn, isn't it?" "Yes, it's about my horn." Twilight could understand how sad Tempest was with not being able to perform any magic for many years, and be tricked by Storm King that he can restore the horn. "I have read through at least 6 books, but nothing who mentions restoring a horn," said Tempest. "I wish I could help you, Tempest," said Twilight. Honestly, Twilight knew no way to recover a damaged horn, but you wanted to encourage Tempest in some way. At first she didn't know how, but Twilight then chose to read some herself in some books, but then she thought maybe Tempest and Gruber could visit the rest of her friends meantime. At first Tempest would stay in council, but Twilight managed to convince her to visit her friends at least. Tempest agreed to that and they freely left the council. Shortly afterwards, Twilight immediately began searching the entire library for modern to ancient magic books with healing magic. But she probably read through 100 books without finding anything in the books that could help Tempest. Twilight was close to give up when she realized it. She had had only a few books that had ancient magic and knowledge. Princess Celestia may have one or a few books with this knowledge, said Twilight. Spike, write this to Celestia. Run away, said Spike. Spike picked up a writing scroll and started taking notes. Dear Celestia, my friend Tempest Shadow has returned to Ponyville after completed her informing other previous conquered kingdoms that Storm King is defeated. But she still lacks the ability to perform magic. I have plenty of my entire library to find anything that can restore Tempest's horn again. I ask you if you have anything that can help Tempest to restore her horn again. I would appreciate any information you can give me. Greetings, Twilight Sparkle. Spikes immediately sent the scroll to Celestia. All he now could do was wait for Celestia to answer back. Meanwhile, Tempest and Gruber had visited Pinkie Pie and Rarity Street on the way to Sweet Apple Acres. On the way, Tempest wondered if she were able to get her horn back. But soon as she at the apple farm, she saw that Applejack was working a full load of basket of apples into the barn. She and Gruber approached Applejack and asked if she needed help. Applejack didn't say that no to extra help. How does it feel to be back? Applejack asked. Yes, it feels nice, said Gruber. I agreed with Gruber, said Tempest. However, it is nice that Storm King's gone. Everything is peaceful yet, again said Applejack. Meanwhile, in Twilight's castle, she was still waiting for a response from Celestia after almost an hour of waiting. Spike caught off a message from Celestia. Spike gave it to Twilight immediately who started reading. Dear Twilight, I would first like to say that I'm happy that Tempest Shadow is back and that her mission is complete. But to your question, I must announce that there is no magic formula spell that can restore a unicorn horn. After discussing with my old teacher Starswell, who had confirmed that matter to me, but he mentioned that might be a hope, Tempest. To the north of the Crystal Empire, in the Crystal Mountains, there should be a cave with unique crystals that can possibly replace the damaged horn for Tempest. Starswell told me about it after he visited a long time ago, but the journey there is long and dangerous. You may have to climb the mountains and endure resistant cold weather there, but it's probably Tempest's only chance to be able to perform magic spells again. I will provide her with a map of the place where the key is located, but I would have not let her travel there alone. Because it is a dangerous trip, I know you will help her with the journey. Take care of her and hope everything will go well. Greetings, Princess Celestia. Twilight felt a little calmer now that there was a hope for Tempest. Should we tell Tempest about the news? Of course. I will tell her about the news after dinner, said Twilight. After a talk with Spike, she went to the library to read some more about magic. Meanwhile, Gruber and Tempest had help at Sweet Apple Acres, and after helping Applejack with some of the chores, she invited them for apple pie. Gruber's eyes glittered when he heard it. He really liked Granny Smith's apple pies. Applejack and Tempest talked a little bit more about their travels and the kingdoms that Storm King previously took over. After spending about 4 hours at the farm, it was time to head back home. Thank you, Sugar Cube, for your help today, said Applejack. What do you have friends for? Said Tempest. Wait, before you leave, Can you get some apple pie with you? Said Applejack. Applejack went back to the house and picked up a paper bag and 2 pieces of apple pie. On the way back to the castle, Tempest had only one thing in mind, and that was the hope of being able to recover a horn. After Storm King had promised of that, broke his promise to her. When Gruber and Tempest returned to the castle, they both felt the smell of food. Twilight and Spike had cooked dinner together. "You're back," said Spike. "Yes, we helped Applejack at the farm. And yes, we got 2 pieces of Graysmith's apple pie with us," said Gruber. "Do you think you can handle dinner too?" Twilight asked. Twilight heard that they come back in and they came out of the library. "Yeah, well, I think we both have room for dinner," said Tempest. "What good? Then we like the food," said Twilight. They went to the dining room and started eating dinner. Tempest was impressed with Twilight's cooking. During the dinner, Twilight remembered Celestia's response. "I have been looking through my library for a way to recover your horn," said Twilight. "Did you find something that can help restore my horn?" "No, unfortunately, Tempest. I have read through all the magic books, but there was nothing in them. I appreciate your effort to help me. But there is hope." Tempest looked at Twilight with a surprised look. "What do you mean, Twilight?" "I wrote to Celestia and asked if she knew anything but she didn't know anything or did," said Twilight. "But she told me that her old teacher, Stalsworth the Bearded, found something that could possibly restore your horn." "What did he find?" "He found a cave 1,000 years ago with unique crystals that could possibly replace your horn." Tempest couldn't believe what she heard, what Twilight told her. But she stayed calm and took a deep breath. "Where is the great cave?" Gruber asked. "It lies in the northern Crystal Empire in the Crystal Mountains," said Twilight. "When can we go get it?" "The trip will be tough," said Twilight. "We will need help," said Spike. "Okay, we can ask the others to help," said Tempest. "Yes, I will ask them when they come early this possible morning. Tomorrow." "I appreciate your help, Twilight," said Tempest. Twilight smiled at Tempest, who smiled back at her. For the rest of the evening they sat in the library reading while Gruber ate some of the apple pie. He also received the Tempest piece because she didn't want it. When the time was around midnight, Gruber and Spike had fallen asleep on the couch, with some comic books around them. "No, maybe it's time to go to bed," said Tempest. "Yes, it's probably time since we have an important meeting tomorrow," said Twilight. Twilight looks at Spike and Gruber, who's still asleep on the couch. "We should probably let them sleep on the couch." "You're probably right about that. It was a shame to wake them up now," said Twilight. Twilight puts a blanket over Gruber and Spike and then turns off the lights in the library and both Tempest and she goes to their room. "Good night, Tempest. Good night, Twilight." Before he fall asleep that night, Tempest was thinking about the news that could possibly replace her horn. The news gave her new hope. And that night, she dreamed that she could perform magic again after so long time. Early next morning, Tempest wakes up and she was getting ready for breakfast when went down to the dining room. She met by Gruber and Spike, who sat at the dining table ate pancakes for breakfast when Twilight came down to the kitchen with 2 plates more pancakes. "Good morning, Tempest." "Good morning, Twilight. Did you sleep well?" "I slept well last night." "Are you hungry?" "I am starving," said Tempest. During the breakfast, Twilight could see that Tempest sitting watching the breakfast while she ate. "Is everything okay, Tempest?" "Well, everything is okay. I just think about what you told me yesterday. I can see that you're eager to get away. Yes, you're right. I want to get off the Crystal Mountains as soon as possible. Don't worry, the others will come over soon after their breakfast." After breakfast, they are waiting for the friends to arrive, and probably soon they'd arrive after a while. "You wanted us to see us because it was important?" asked Applejack. "Yes," said Applejack with a It's quite important. What's so important? Asked Rainbow Dash. A mission to Crystal Mountains to find a crystal that can replace Tempest's horn, said Twilight. The others stared at Twilight with a surprised look and looked at Tempest and see that she is serious. Isn't that right? Rarity asked. Yes, it's true. Sugar Cube, how can we help? Some of us are going to Crystal Mountains to find the crystal from Tempest. But why we're sitting here? Then let's go at once, said Rainbow. It's not that simple, Rainbow. The area we are going to is not directly summer weather, and we can fly or use the hot air balloon through the strong winds in the area. All the strong winds haven't stopped me before, said Rainbow. Rainbow, we had to hike in the mountains, said Applejack. We don't want to risk any damage. Alright, I'm on it. I'm on it, said Rainbow. Rarity then looks at Twilight with a curious look. Do we have to carry when we get off? I thought as soon as possible, and we need some supplies and some equipment, said Twilight. I don't know if I want to come along, said Fluttershy. The others looked at Twilight and Fluttershy, who looked scared before the long journey. You don't have to follow, Fluttershy, if you don't want to, said Twilight. I know, but I want to come along with the help, said Fluttershy. Then it's clear. Then you will leave about an hour after we can obtain that what we need, said Twilight. After the others had left, Twilight began to make the list of things she needed to bring. Tempest went to see if Twilight was done, but was shocked to see how long the list. Twilight, you can seriously think you're going to have all that list with you? Of course. But Twilight, we will only just pick at the crystal. You don't have to need all this on the list. I have been thinking trying to tell her 20 times for 20 minutes. Sorry, I just got so excited, said Twilight. I only pack what we may need, said Twilight. Okay, we'll see you at the gate then, said Tempest. After 10 minutes, Twilight came with his saddlebag and Spike has chosen to stay in the castle right with Gruber, which Tempest and Twilight were totally okay with. At the train station, the others were only waiting for them. Where are we going first? We first will take a train to Crystal Empire, and from there we'll go to the mountains, said Twilight. Okay, the train should be here within minutes, said Rarity. Very well. The train arrived at the station. They boarded within a few minutes. The train left the station and set off to Crystal Empire. We will sleep over in Crystal Empire, Rarity asked. I thought we would go straight to the mountains, but my brother would be crazy if we didn't visit him, said Twilight. It might give us time to visit some fashion boutiques in town, said Rarity. So we will stay overnight? Fluttershy asked. Yes, but only one night, said Twilight. I hope you are okay with that, Tempest. Of course I'm okay with that. During the rest of the trip, they talked about the mission, how the crystal can be replaced, and how Tempest will be able to perform magic. Within a few hours, they arrived at Crystal Empire's train station and get off the train. Shall we go to the palace? Rainbow asked. Yes, we're going there right now. Do you go without me? I was going to take a look around the store, said Rarity. Okay, come to the palace when you're done, said Twilight. Of course, said Rarity. They went to the palace, and Shining Armor and Tails were surprised to see Twilight on an unexpected visit with her friends. What are you all doing here? Shining Armor asked. We are here on a mission to find a unique crystal for Tempest to replace her damaged horn, said Twilight. Shining Armor and Tails looked at Tempest and understood the mission and offered them to stay at the palace overnight, which they accepted. For the rest of the afternoon, Twilight spent time with Cadence the Furry Heart while Tempest explored the city because she has never been there before, just hearing about the Crystal Empire. She was totally surprised, but at the same time impressed about the city. She was completely delighted with the city. A little later, after Rarity and Fluttershy had returned to the palace after visiting the shops, it was time for dinner. During dinner, Shining Armor asked if Tempest could tell a little bit about herself with the time with Storm King. Twilight could look at Tempest, who felt a little bit doubtful about the issue. Shining Armor, I don't think it is the right time to ask about it, said Twilight. It's okay, Twilight. I can tell everything you do your brother, said Tempest. Tempest then started to tell Shining Armor, who listened carefully while Twilight talked to Cadence for tomorrow. Cadence had promised to provide them with the equipment they needed. Twilight thanked Cadence for the offer. Rest of the evening, Twilight, Pinky, and Flutterheart sat while the others talked to Cadence Shining Armor, while Tempest sat near the open fireplace and looked into flames. But when Flutterheart yawned, it was time to go to bed. Of course, Tempest had a hard time to falling asleep that night. She left the room and took a walk around the palace. She ended up on a balcony, stared out on the city, and it was quiet and only dark with a few guards walking around in the city. Of course, it's peaceful. Tempest quickly turned around and sees Cadence standing behind her. She was scared. Well, it is peaceful, said Tempest. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, said Cadence. It's okay. I thought no other pony was awake at this time. Hard to sleep? Well, I have a little bit of trouble sleeping. I guess about the mission tomorrow. That's right, said Tempest. Cadence stands next to Tempest and looks out of the city with her. You don't have to worry, everything will go fine, said Cadence. Twilight has never failed any of her friends at any time. I'm just worried if the crystal will really work. I'm sure it will work, said Cadence. You should only have faith in yourself and your friends. Tempest takes a deep breath and looks out of the city. You're probably right. I shouldn't have to worry. I will probably try to sleep a little. Good night, Tempest. Good night, Cadence. Cadence was right. After Tempest had fallen asleep, she fell asleep at once. The very next morning, Tempest woke up by knock on the door. Twilight had to come out to wake her up. They both went to the dining room to have breakfast, as their friends were already there and had breakfast. They said all good morning to Tempest and Twilight. They all talked about the mission. When should we leave? We leave after breakfast, said Twilight. We just do need to fix the equipment so we are ready. Sugar Cube, said Applejack. Okay, I can't wait until we leave, said Tempest. After eating the breakfast, they all went to their rooms and packed the saddlebags and met at the gate out of the palace, where Shining Armor had gathered some equipment for them. Are you sure you don't want any security guards with you? Shining Armor asked. No, we are sure about that, Big Brother, said Twilight. Yes, we have managed to war things before then. That, said Rarity. This is going to be a child's play, said Safe, said Rainbow. They took their equipment and Twilight gave her brother a hug and they all left the palace against the mountains. At first they could pick up the sled when they started approaching the mountains. They had to start climbing up. The impatient Rainbow, as she always tried to fly up, but always within a few seconds she fell straight down to the ground. Are you okay, Twilight? Yes, I'm okay, said Rainbow. It was like the snow dampened the sugar dampened Sugar Cube said, otherwise it would be done badly, said Applejack. Applejack helped her up and they both started climbing up the mountains. But even though it was tough with the wind and the cold air, although it was summer in the mountain area. How is it, Fluttershy? Tempest asked. I'm doing well, said Fluttershy. But Fluttershy grabbed a rock and she dropped the grip and fell down. Twilight and the others saw her down. Rainbow plunged right down, though that she knew that was dangerous. But even the strong winds, Rainbow managed to catch Fluttershy, who was terrified, took her up her rock cliff ledge, where she could catch her breath. Are you okay, Fluttershy? Yes, I'm okay. Sorry if I'm bothered, but I found a path along the mountain. Maybe we can take that, said to the cave, said Tempest. I think we should give it a try, said Applejack. I agree with Applejack, said Rarity. Okay, That sounds like a good idea, said Twilight. They made their way along the trail, but kept an eye on them not trampling while after they had halfway the mountains. Twilight looked around and then tried to look at the map. Despite the wind, they saw they were close. Where are we going now? Rainbow asked. Well, straight up here, and they're not far from the cave, said Twilight. Just across the path, said Twilight. Twilight points the path leading up the mountainside. Okay, let's go, said Rainbow. They all started slowly to pad up for the path, and within a few minutes, they were up on the edge, and they could see several mountain passages in a long distance, even in the fog. Where are we going now? We'll just go straight over here and we're there, said Twilight. But just they were about to start walking when the ground began to shake. Is it avalanche going on? Said Rarity. No, it sounds like footsteps, said Applejack. What can make such strong footsteps? Said Rarity. Maybe it's Jack and hiking in the mountains, said Pinky. I don't think that, said Twilight. The sound came even closer to them, and now they could hear the steps more clearly. Who's there? said a voice. We're travelers looking for a crystal cave, said Applejack. Soon they could see who was asking them, and there was a dragon walking towards them. They were prepared for the dragon to attack them, but he stopped in front of them. What are you doing here? asked the dragon. We're here to find a crystal cave here nearby, said Twilight. Okay, let me introduce myself. I am called Fairstar. Twilight introduced herself and her friends, but then Fairstar looked at her. You don't happen to be related to Shining Armor? Well, he's my big brother, said Twilight. Do you know my brother? Yes, he's a good friend of mine, said Fairstar. Maybe it's best for you to come with me to my cave for the storms on the way. Is it far? Fairstar answered, only around the corner. Fairstar showed the way to Twilight and her friends to the cave, and they were surprised to see the cave was nicely home. Your home is really cool, said Rarity. Thank you very much. How long will the weather last? Tempest asked. It usually lasts for an hour the most, said Fairstar. Meanwhile, we can wait out the weather and warm up here, said Applejack. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea, said Pinky. They all went and sat down in an open fireplace to warm up after somewhat chilly weather. Twilight then looks at Fairstar with a curious look. Is something wrong? Something on, Twilight? Fairstar asked. No, everything is fine. How do you know my brother? He and I met in the area after his daughter was born, said Fairstar. As they all waited for the storm to pass, Fairstar offered them hot cocoa. Soon enough, they noticed the storm had passed, and they all thanked Fairstar for his hospitality and set out to find the cave. They searched the area where the cave was located, but they couldn't have found any trace of it. Are you sure the cave is here, darling? Dorothy asked. Well, according to the map, the cave should be here. Remember, Oswald found the cave 1,000 years ago, Sugar Cube, said Applejack. Maybe the cave has collapsed, said Rainbow. You might be right about that, but I don't give up yet, said Tempest. If we have to come this far, I will not give up yet, said Tempest. I'm with Tempest and Pinky. Okay, spread out to shout out if you find it, said Twilight. Okay, said everybody. They spread out in an area, find the cave, but none of them they were found a trace of that cave. I found it, said calling out to Pinky. Are you sure that's it? Well, there's only a cave nearby, said Pinky. You have a point, said Twilight. They all went to the cave, and Twilight lit a lantern and that she had brought with them, and they saw they were disappointed. They had no crystal in the cave. It must be the wrong cave, said Rainbow. No, according to the map, it should go in a bit more. They all went a little further into the cave, and soon they found dozens of crystals along the walls of all shapes and sizes. It is incredibly beautiful, said Rarity. I agreed, said Fluttershy. But what crystal should we take? Said Rainbow. I think Tempest may shield for that, said Twilight. They looked at Tempest, looking around to find the perfect crystal. She walked around up to the crystal a bit and looked at it. I choose this crystal, said Tempest. Twilight went up ahead and took the crystal and stuffed it in her saddle bag and then left the cave. Now let's go to the Crystal Empire so that they can fix the crystal, said Twilight. Maybe we can ask Flare Star for lift, said Rainbow. Yes, we can do that, said Applejack. It sounds like a good idea. I don't think he has anything against it, said Twilight. They went to Flare Star's cave. He was surprised to see them back so soon, and he had no problem giving them a lift back to the city. After a while, Flare Star approached the city and Pony Steamtown saw a big red dragon and panicked. But soon they saw it was Flare Star's and every pony was calm. Flare Star landed near the palace. Twilight and the others saw that Shining Armor and Cadence was waiting for them. Shining Armor went up to Flare Star and talked to him for a while. Most ponies don't want to stay for dinner, said Shining Armor. Would you like to stay over for dinner? I do gladly, said Flare Star. Shining Armor turned around and looked at his sister and his friends. Did you find the crystal cave? Cadence asked. Yes, we found the cave and the crystal for Tempest, said Applejack. We will have to let some pony fix it, said Rarity. Maybe Sunburst can help, said Fluttershy. It sounds like a good idea, said Shining Armor. I inform him and some other ponies will work on it at once, said Shining Armor. After Shining Armor had informed Sunburst and a few other ponies, given them the crystal, they immediately began to work. Meanwhile, the others had gathered around outside the palace where they decided to have some dinner. Since Flare Star didn't fit the palace, Shining and Cadence had decided to hold a dinner outside the palace. After dinner, every pony sat and talked. I'll probably go home now, said Flare Star. But thanks for the dinner, it was nice. You're always welcome back, and thanks to help my sister and her friends, said Shining Armor. I always help my friends. Most ponies run away in another state when this was before it was time to go to bed, for it was evening since they had been a long day. The others went to the guest rooms while Tempest was still awake. She couldn't sleep, but though they thought about that what Sunburst and the other ponies were working on to fix the crystal. You can sleep? Shining Armor asked. No, I've been thinking about the crystal and I hope it can work. I know, but I'm still nervous if something goes wrong. What Twilight has told me about you, I understand it, said Shining Armor. If it happened to me, I would have felt exactly the same, said Shining Armor. But it will only go well. Thank you for the support. I always support my sister's friends, said Shining Armor. After Shining Armor had left Tempest, she stood for a while before going back to her guest room. Already next morning, at breakfast, every pony was eager to see if the crystal was working. We have something to tell, said Cadence. We were told 2 hours ago before going that Sunburst and the ponies were done with the crystal around 4 in the morning, said Shining Armor. That's good news, said Twilight. After breakfast, Sunburst comes with the crystal so that we can see it. If it works, said Cadence. Tempest was so eager to try it, and soon, after every pony had eaten their breakfast, they sat down waiting for Sunburst. Within a few minutes came into the dining room and carried on a box. He went to the table. Every pony was eager to see the crystal. Did you get the crystal? Twilight asked. It went well, even we got some work on it, said Sunburst. Can we see? The crystal? Said Rarity. Of course, said Sunburst. Sunburst then opened the box, and every pony was eager and surprised how the crystal became an, especially Tempest, which was happy the most of all. Sunburst lifted the crystal with his magic and stuck it on Tempest, who looked so eager to try it. Given that she has not been able to perform simple magic since she was a child, she was afraid that something would happen. Don't be afraid, Sugar Cube. Take a deep breath and it will go well, said Dumbledore. Tempest took a deep breath and tried to remember a simple spell that she could perform. She used a levitation spell. She was so nervous how things were going, and the others were distant just for safety. She took a deep breath and focused on the spell, and soon the crystal started to shine with her magic. She saw how a cup she had in front of her slowly began to lift, but fell to the ground. She lost her focus, but again she took a deep breath, and soon the cup was lifted again. She turned around and looked at others, who was happy to see for her sake, because it was the first time she performed magic since she was little. She had no problems performing other spells, and after 10 minutes, she was once again used to performing magic again. She couldn't help to start crying, but rushed into her friends and hugged them, thanking them for their help to fixing her crystal for her. They stayed in Crystal Empire for a few more days so that she could have some vacation, and at the same time, Twilight was able to work up Tempest's magic again after so long time. But of course, it didn't take long for only a couple of days for Tempest to have full control of her new horn. She thanked her friends again. After every pony had returned home to Ponyville, Tempest showed their new horn for Gruber, and Gruber was very happy for her friend's sake. Some time later, Twilight had told Celestia and Luna if the mission was successful and that Tempest had a new horn, and she could perform magic again. The two princesses were proud of Twilight's kindness and patience in helping a friend in need. Tempest became a teacher in Twilight's school as a substitute sometimes for her when her Twilight could not be there. It was when Twilight was able to perform Tempest was able to perform magic once again with her new crystal horn. Thanks for all your help, Twilight. All you are true friends. We are always we always would be there for you to help you, said Applejack. That's what the friends are for, said Rainbow. Tempest used her new horn and made some fireworks without any problem, and Twilight and her friends could see how happy Tempest were as she could perform magic again after such a long time. Seeing it made Twilight happy. She smiled, and they cried tears of joy to see her friend happy again. The end.